No way that's a true story, right? Can it be done? Will it be done? So let me get this straight. You never played football in your life. You just decide one day at college, you know what? I'm gonna try for a D1 team. In the SEC. Well, yeah. And I know it's long overdue, but this is how I walked onto a D1 team without any prior football experience. Part 3. A lot of effects going on. But anyway, part 3. Let's go. Cliff Gang, what is up? I know it has been a very, very long time. But again, this is part 3 of how I walked onto a D1 team without any prior football experience. Now, for those new here and you're trying to figure out which team that I walk onto, well, oh wait, you can't see my other Gators helmet. But yes, the Florida Gators. Shout out to the men's basketball team, national champs. Gator boys stay hot. And before this video starts, yeah, that's right, we got sponsors now. This video is brought to you by Event Ticket Center. Now, all my real ones know that I went to WrestleMania 41 this year, but that wouldn't have been possible without Event Ticket Center. You want a fast, convenient, and trustworthy source to experience events like no other? ETC is the way to go. And don't worry guys, yes, I have a code. Be sure to go to eventticketcenter.com and use my promo code Clifford10 for 10% off of purchases $150 or more. And as I'm saying that, I just realized WrestleMania 42 is also going to be in Las Vegas, so hey, ETC, you know where I want to go. But yes, eventticketcenter.com. I will put a link in the description. Now let's get back to the video. I feel like that would have been a perfect time to do like a wardrobe switch, but nonetheless, hey, we here, part 3. So in parts 1 and 2, I'll put the videos right here. I talked about my whole process, walking onto the team, the training, the journey, just you name it, I talked about it. And in part 2, I stopped around the beginning of my senior year, which was back in 2020, 2021. Now, as we all know, 2020 was just, that whole year was just a blur and a half. We were in a worldwide pandemic, and quite frankly, there was a lot of doubt if there was even gonna be a college football season. And not to sugarcoat it at all, those 2020 all-season workouts were HE double hockey sticks. To this day, I've never experienced nothing like it in my life. It was such a grind, but at the end, oh man, it was so worth it. Shout out all the strength and conditioning staff that was there. Shout out Coach Savage, I know he's at Ole Miss now. Shout out Coach Tanner, I know he's at UNLV. Coach Tanner was actually my personal coach, and he got me right. I mean, I'm talking about, I went from 230, just like, flabby muscle, to 240, just like firm, just like, ugh. And speaking of weight, the last time I did a video on this, man, I gotta tell you, I mean, if you can see it in my face, there's no other way to put it. I was heavy. I was living in New Jersey, New York at the time, and that was the heaviest I've ever been in my life. At that point, man, it was New York pizzas every single day. I think in that video, I was like 280, 290. Now we a slim 235, 240, back where I belong. But yeah, man, those off-season workouts were crazy. I'll never forget the one before we had spring break. That was also just absurd. But coming back from spring break, there were a lot of questions. The pandemic was starting to take place. A whole lot of stuff was spiraling out of control. And then, lo and behold, one day in March, we had a team meeting, and Coach Mullen told us that the SEC was shutting down everything. And that was about a couple days after the ACC shut down everything, the Big Ten. You know, we got a saying in the SEC, it just means more. So we were kind of holding on to hope that we would, you know, have spring ball, but it just got to a point where everything just spiraled out of control and they just shut everything down. So yeah, during my tenure as a member of the team, I never got to experience spring ball once. And yeah, that sucks, because I heard it was a lot of fun. So no facilities, no training, no conditioning. What did I do during that time? Well, I can say this now because it's been about 5 years since it happened. I ended up driving up to Tallahassee and staying with my best friend Jared for a little while because he was working at the apartment gym, and that was the only gym that I had access to. So when everybody was isolating, I would just go in the gym and work out every single day, because that was my biggest fear. Like, if I don't work out and just like eat and consume stuff all day, every day, all that hard work and muscle that I put on, it was just gonna be, quite frankly, for nothing. Not on the coaches, but on me. So I was like, nah. I worked too hard for this. We gotta maintain our composure. So that's what I did from March to about mid-June, early July. That was all I did. I was just working out every single day, still trying to eat right. But yeah, 2020, man, that was such a blur. Now, 2020 season, how did it go? Well, for certain Gator fans, frankly, all Gator fans, there's a certain game in that season that, you know, we don't like to talk about. I'll talk about it in this video because, hey, I got love for 3. I've always had love for Mark. But if y'all remember in part 2, I was saying my junior year, I was just a lost soul. Like the whole playbook, the whole offensive schemes, the sets, all that, I was lost. Like I would look at it and it would just look like, yeah, like PlayStation cheat codes. Like, what am I looking at? But a light bulb just hit me around, I wanna say May, and it was just like, once I started studying the playbook through and through, I don't know, it just got to a point, I mean, not to quote Lethal Shooter, but it's like, I understand it now. And I gotta tell you, not just college football, but football in general is a lot more fun when you know what's going on. And quite frankly, camp for me during that time, at least when I was getting reps, oh yeah, I was getting reps this year, it was easy. Now, of course, I wanted to work my way up the depth chart, but when you got Kyle Pitts, Kamori Gamble, Keon Zipper, Jonathan Odom, it's not gonna be easy. Oh, I can't forget my dog, Trey Thompson. Shout out Trey, genius. But yeah, I knew it was gonna be difficult, but trust me, I was gonna try my absolute best. Because one thing I think that really stood out during my senior year is I think a lot of the players started to respect me a little more because my junior year, I was just a new guy. I didn't really know what was going on, so I was just trying to get my feet wet in the system and just trying to, you know, build some sort of rapport, relationship with the guys. But that really kicked in my senior year. Not to mention we got a new tight ends coach, Tim Brewster, one of the best recruiters and tight end coaches in all of football. My old tight end coach, Coach Scott, got a head coaching job at Howard. Shout out Coach Scott, I still gotta send you some stuff. And yeah, not to brag, I was being coached by 2 of the greatest tight end coaches that this game has to offer. I think the biggest difference between Coach Tim and Coach Scott in a way was more like my dad. The reason I say that is because Coach Scott would always make us look beyond what we were doing. Why are we doing it? Why are the wide receivers running a certain route at a certain depth? He made me look beyond the tight end assignment, which is probably why I think it was so much easier for me to understand what was going on my senior year. Because when Coach Brew came in, as long as we knew our assignments, he was all good. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, I know what the receiver's doing. I know what we're doing. I know why we're doing it, the depth. I knew it all. But yeah, I learned so much from those guys, not just about the game of football, but about the game of life. I learned so much, and I could not be more thankful for them. And they always got a saying, if you earn a nickname on the team, you've honestly gotten some of the respect of the guys. And honestly, I got a nickname. I would have preferred another one, but at the time it was hot and I was hot with it. So I gotta say, my nickname my senior year, every time I walked into the gym for workouts, everybody would be like, "What up, TikTok?" And I'm just like, "Hey, what's going on?" But yes, in a way, earned my stripes a little bit, did a lot more stuff on special teams during practices. So yeah, things were looking up. Now, if I was gonna play or not, that was the big question, because it's like, we got an all SEC schedule. I know how the SEC is about walk-ons dressing out. You know, they got a certain restriction, only like 85, I think it was 80 or 85 guys at the time could dress out. So it was gonna be a battle. But the best part of the 2020 season was like during those practices, I wasn't being a scout team center. Yeah, ironically, y'all, I was a scout team center for pretty much all of the 2019 season. But during the 2020 season, I got to play tight end, finally. But I don't think that would have happened without training camp. Training camp, I'm not gonna lie, that was the hardest I'd ever worked in my entire life. And I'm telling you, once I understood the offense, I was running those routes thoroughly, clean, and just with so much just like pent up, ruthless aggression. Shout out John Cena. But that is one thing about camp that I will never forget. Training camp that year, oh boy, training camp was like 8 weeks, 10 weeks. I mean, it felt like forever. If ever a year to learn about repetition, I'm telling you, it was fall of 2020. I mean, it was all day, every day, nonstop, 24/7. So we go into the season, of course, and you know, I was playing with arguably the greatest tight end to ever come out of, no, actually the greatest tight end to ever come out of Florida, Kyle Pitts. He was on a tear the whole season. He made practices for all of us just that much easier. And the chemistry all 6 of us had at the time was just, quite frankly, amazing. Like if I text one of the guys right now, they will probably respond within at least 10, 15 minutes. But I had a few goals of mine going into the 2020 season. I wanted to be Scout Player of the Week at least twice. I wanted to dress out for an SEC game, which is hard to come by because, again, walk on. And nonetheless, I just wanted the respect of my teammates, which thankfully I can say I believe I did that. So we're practicing. The first home game that year was against South Carolina. Didn't dress out for that one, so I'm like, I gotta go a little harder. Then our next home game was supposed to be against LSU, but due to a COVID outbreak after the Texas A&M loss, it got pushed back to December. So our next home game was Missouri. And I told myself, I'm telling you, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna dress out for this game. No questions asked. And I gotta tell you, that week of practice was the hardest I've ever practiced, basketball or football, in my entire life. Like, I was determined to get a spot to dress out that weekend. Like, wasn't nothing gonna stop me. So Thursday rolls around and one of the EQ guys goes, he's like, hey, you gonna be on the sidelines for the game? And I'm like, I hope so. And he goes, damn right. I'm like, what you mean? And I'm like, yeah, you're dressing out. And I'm like, you're kidding. He's like, no, you are. And I still thought he was kidding. But then when Coach Brew told me, he goes, you wanna play this weekend? You wanna dress out this weekend? I was like, hell yeah, coach, like, let's do it. So I'm there, uniforms all set in stone. I'm just like, yo, like, if we blow these boys out, like, I might get a chance to play today. Like, all I need is my guys to do their job, blow these boys out, and I'll get a chance to play. Even during warm-ups, the guys were gassing me up. They actually let me hype the team up too, which was really, really cool. I don't even remember what I was saying. I blacked out in that moment. I don't even remember what I was saying, but here's a picture of, true story, of me gassing the team up, and I was just like, you know what, hey, we here, dog, we here. So as most of y'all remember from that game, that was the game that we fought Missouri at halftime. And you know what's crazy about that? So Kyle threw a Hail Mary to Kyle Pitts, but he didn't get it. So I just started walking. I just started walking to the locker room. So I'm like, all right, whatever, halftime, we gonna kill him anyway. So I start walking to the locker room and I see the maybe 10 or 20 people in the stands, because you know they had cardboard cutouts and they had like a limited amount of fans at the time. They were all pointing in the direction of Missouri's bench, and then I turn around and these dudes are squabbling, and I was just like, yo, what is going, like, matter of fact, there's a part in the video where I walk back and I'm just kind of looking like, how did we get hit? But man, I gotta tell you, the locker room at halftime of that game, oh my God, it was so, like, that just lit a fire in us the rest of the game, and I was like, good, keep it up. Give me a chance to play. Give me a chance to play. Do y'all job, let's get this dub, but I want a chance to play. So from then on, it was dominance, man. I'm talking about Copeland got in on the action, you know, Shorter got on the action, Grimes got on the action. And I'm just like, oh, give me a chance. But then I looked at the clock. That's the thing. I didn't even look at the clock until the game was over. It was about 30 seconds in there. Coach goes, hold him. And I'm like, So I didn't get in the game. Very unfortunate, but hey, nonetheless, I was like, you know what? At least the thought was there. Because Coach Brew kept giving me a look. So I'm like, look, yo, like, I'm ready. Like, if you want to put me in, dog, like, I'm ready to go. Will I be scared? Probably. But I'm like, you know what? I'm ready to go. So it didn't happen, unfortunately. But just the thought of being able to say I had a chance to literally play in an SEC game without any football experience ever is just, it's still just mind-boggling to me. Now, do I wish I would have played? 1,000%, but nonetheless, I'm thankful for it. But in the end, we go on a little win streak. We beat Georgia finally. Like, bro, I was 0-3 against Georgia. Like, I could not imagine college being 0-4 against Georgia. Like, there's just no way. It cannot happen. Will not happen. And it didn't happen. So yeah, I'll take that dub. But win is a win. But anyway, yeah, we go on a win streak. And then of course we gotta fast forward all the way to senior day. So this is the day a lot of people ask me about, the LSU game, senior day, the shoe throw, obviously. So let's talk about it. If you guys remember, man, that whole day was just, it was so dark because it was the same day that Keontae Johnson, my brother, man, he collapsed on the floor at Florida State during the basketball game. And that was just, oh my God, that was just so mentally draining because like I knew Keontae, like we grabbed lunch at Gator Dining multiple times. So it was just like, man. So yeah, that whole thing was a blur. As some of y'all remember, I wrote KJ11 on my sleeves, you know, had to shout out, do a tribute to my dog. But yeah, the game. So it was just, I don't know, man. The first half, it was just so odd, so back and forth. Dressed out again, though. Hey, did it again. But yeah, it was just such a weird game. It was just so back and forth. There were just so many uncharacteristic things happening. Like there was a crazy pick six, a crazy interception in the red zone. Just a lot of back and forth. And then of course, in the fourth quarter, my dog Marco threw the shoe, and I'll be fully transparent. So I was standing, and I'll actually do an animation story time on this, but I was actually standing, and y'all remember it was very, very foggy. So we stopped them on third down. I'm like, yo, if we get this ball, we can run down the field, get a field goal, end the game with a dub, you know, go into the SEC championship with some momentum. So we stop them on third down. And so, like I said, it was just like a cloud of fog. I saw a cleat go that way, and I saw a flag go that way. And I was just like, oh no. No. And then, of course, saw a flag. And the thing is, they actually called the flag on Mamu, who was like a sophomore linebacker at the time. So I was like, Mood wouldn't do that. Right? And so, and to this day, man, shout out my boy Ventrell for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Ventrell Miller. I ain't never seen Trell crash out like that in my life. I didn't even know who threw it until like 20 minutes after the game, and my phone was just blowing up. Now, people ask me all the time, what do I think about the shoot throw? What do I think about Marco? I love Marco. I've always loved Marco, and personally, people ask me all the time, like, did the team forgive him? Did blah, 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 blah. I can't speak for everybody else, but like, for me, I forgave him because I just knew, especially like with the culture of Gator Nation, I just knew that they were just gonna just pour on him. So if anything, realistically, I forgave him because to be transparent, bro, Marco was always nice to me. I always respected him. He always respected me, was good people. So when it happened, bro, I was like, look, man, I mean, if everybody's against you, bro, hey, I got your back. And that's just what brothers do, man. So to be fully transparent, still love Marco, still rooting for him in his career, man. But yeah, Marco's my dog. And was it a mistake? Of course it was. But you know what I'm saying? You live and learn. And to be frank, I know a lot of Gator Nation doesn't want to hear this, but I kind of wish we would get over it. You know, it's been 5 years since it's happened now. You know, certain Gator fans, you just can't tell them nothing, but I just wish all the Gator Nation would just kind of, you know, get over it. It was what it was. It was very unfortunate, but I mean, at the end of the day, you know, Marco's a big human being. You guys know I'm a big ambassador for mental health. I'm really, really big on that, so I can only imagine what he was going through, you know, during that time. So again, rooted for Marco always. Big salute to you three. And yeah, so anyway, we lost that game, lost the SEC championship, and then here goes the Cotton Bowl. So again, I got another chance to be like, oh snap, like, am I gonna play today? Like, my girlfriend at the time got me some custom cleats. Like, I was like, dog, I was ready to go. And I think we know how that game panned out. We don't really need to talk about it. It was yeah, very unfortunate. Very unfortunate way to end my college career, but nonetheless, it was, I mean, it really didn't hit me until maybe when I got back on the team bus and we flew back to Gainesville. Like, man, like, my career as a Gator football player is just like that. It's over, just like that. And I gotta tell you, man, those 2 years were the best 2 years of my life, man. And I don't like to toot my own horn when I talk about my Florida career, but it's like, I think personally, and I'm not trying to be biased at all, but I personally think I had one of the greatest experiences any college kid could ever have. I got to experience life as a regular student. I got to tailgate, you know, go to games as a fan. And then my junior year, I got to be a part of the team. So I got to see both sides of the coin. Like, that's unheard of. And the most beautiful thing about it is, like, anytime I go back to Gainesville now, because I feel like in any spectrum of life, most walk-ons, when they return to campus, they just kind of blend in again. Anytime I go back, I'm telling you, at least 10 to 15 people every game. They just stop by, show love, and it's just so heartwarming. Anytime I look back at the content of people that I meet and things like that, it's just like, yo, like, I've been out of UF for, well, it's gonna be 4 years in August, but it's like, yo, I've been out of UF for 4 years, and it's like, the fact that people still show love to me, like, that is just, I don't know, man, that warms the heart. It's really humbling, for real. And Gator Nation, I truly love y'all for that. But yeah, that was my Florida career in a nutshell. We'll go back and do it again 10 times over in a heartbeat. Now time for some of the juicy questions that I know a lot of y'all been asking me in my DMs on Instagram, TikTok. Y'all found ways to ask me some of these questions. Does every player get to keep their gear? Yes. Does every player get to keep their helmets? Yes. Do we get to keep our jerseys? Oh yeah. Do we get to keep our player exclusive shoes? Yes. Do we get to go back for games? Again. Yes. I got a strategy too. So a lot of times, a lot of my former teammates, they like to be on the sidelines for the games that are huge, like LSUs, the FSUs of the world. I like to go on the sidelines because I don't ever like to jinx the team. So I'm like, you know what? Anytime we're playing a team that I 1000% know we're gonna win, that's when I'll go. But yeah, that is my college career, how I walked onto a D1 team without any football experience. Now, if you have any questions, be sure to drop them in the comments. I know I was terrible responding to them in the last video, and I'm so sorry for that. I will get to them very soon. But if you have any questions about parts 1, 2, or 3, drop a comment in the description, and I'll be sure to respond to them as soon as I can. But nonetheless, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this video. And as always, like, comment, share, subscribe. You know the whole jazz. Go Gators, baby. I'm out of here. Peace.
Making the waves like the 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 ocean, wet waves like the making the waves like the ocean, wet waves like the ocean.
So that was the other helmet that I was pointing to, the white one. Yeah, gotta keep the white one. Ooh, got my WWE belts right there.
Yep.
More helmets right there from All America. But yeah, that was the white helmet I was referring to. See y'all.